is how difficult would it be if somebody does have a child with special needs and doesn't know that they could be a caregiver, or somebody has a young child and has a parent who needs help and they don't have a clue and they are running in between. So we will be happy to write something up and just say, look, I mean, that's what we do. These are the possibilities. Spread the word. I mean, if you know somebody who feels torn, who has so much on their shoulders, these are the options. Yeah, and yeah, that would be
Perfect.
terrific.
That'd be awesome. I'll reach out to you. I know that Jeremy sent out everybody's
Please
email
do.
addresses, so I'll reach out to you.
I'm out of town Friday, but other than
Okay.
that, I'm just tomorrow.
Okay,
But
perfect. Thank you.
yeah, thank you.
And so Courtney Locke just asked if that applies to those on the family support waiver. And I'm sorry to say, I don't know much about the family support waiver and what services it covers. Is there anybody on who can field that question?
You know, I am not sure. I know what we do is we do Medicaid waiver, we do choice, and I'm sure that is just a different branch. I mean, since we're licensed, we would just need to know what are the steps, and we could call in and see if all we need to do is just to submit application to be a provider. So please help with that or provide a resource, and we'll call and get back with you on that.
Yeah, Ina, I know that the family support waiver all I know is that it's also part of the beads. It's not part of the beads waiver. It's a separate waiver, but it's run by the same organization or the same. It's the BEAD stands for, and Susan, you may need to jump in and help me on this. It's the Behavioral Developmental and Disabilities, or Bureau of Developmental and Disabilities.
Sorry, I'll hop into my office, so I'll get off the camera.
But I know that's something Steve was looking at. So yeah, so that's, while Advocates right now is a aging and disabled Medicaid waiver service provider, we are trying to get set up to be able to handle the BEADS waiver, provide services under the BEADS waiver and the family support waiver as well. That's just outside of my part of it. Somebody else is working on that within the office, and I have no idea what all the red tape looks like. So, and I want to apologize to those of you who might have been waiting in the waiting room there for a little bit. We kind of had a rough start this morning, but I didn't see the notification that I didn't even realize we had a waiting room set up, because I know some folks were able to join in right away. But so this is the second meeting of the Aging and the Disabilities and Conditions of Aging Network that we are trying to set up. I did not really intend to have a big agenda this time either, because I do see a few new names. I wanted to give us the chance again to introduce ourselves, to talk about what we want to get out of having this network and growing this network. The intent when I send out those invitations really is for you guys to send those on to the people that you think would be interested and want to connect. The idea really was for the organizations, initially Central Indiana, but we've had folks from all over the state actually reach out and ask questions and say that they're interested. Whether or not they show up today, I don't know. But the intent really was just to create an opportunity, a regular opportunity for us to talk about what's going on within our communities, where we can support each other. One of the big things, Advocates Personal Care is as you kind of heard us talking about, an aging and disabled Medicaid waiver service provider. focusing on that structured family care and attendant care service that allows us to pay family and community caregivers, the family and friends who are doing the things for their loved ones that we should do anyways. But actually, when they're really providing a service for somebody with a disability that is helping them maintain their independence as they define it to be, this gives us the opportunity to pay them for the services that they're providing, because they really are providing that vital service. Julie, I love the color of your walls. Sorry, your camera just came on. There's that purple. So, and to introduce myself to anybody who I haven't actually met, I am Jeremy Warner. I am a amputee, bilateral above knee amputee, burn survivor, type 2 diabetes as well, which came as a result of not understanding how much I needed to exercise after I became an amputee and how much I needed to watch my diet. And I wear a couple hats. I work as an outreach consultant with Advocates Personal Care and Advocates Home Health Care. I also have my own organization, Walking Spirit, which is focused on diversity, equity, and inclusion from a disability lens, providing evaluation and training and support. Long-term, I want to be doing that within the commercial sector and really within hotels, because that's where my background is, but realizing that actually is something that we need in movie theaters and amusement parks and retail establishments and everything else. So that's what I do. I will, and before I hand it off to anybody else, I will say that one thing that advocates, as I started our conversation with earlier, is really struggling with is finding those people who are on or eligible for the Medicaid waiver services and getting them that support. So if anybody has any referrals, please send them to me. You can reach me at Jeremy at Advocates. I'm sorry, it's not Jeremy. It's Jay Warrener at advocatescare.com, and I'll put my email address in the chat. I would also ask that everybody else put their name and email address and any other identifying information that they want to include in there as well, so that we can follow up with each other. The other thing, so Advocates currently is in 12 counties, mostly around central Indiana. We were talking about the fact that we are looking at branching out to to area 4. We've also looked at area 6 and 9. I did hear from somebody yesterday who unfortunately is out of our service area, who is down, it would be area 15 service area. Susan, you might have some thoughts. It's the area that would be under the Southern Indiana Center for Independent Living. But they have a 15-month-old child with a chromosome 2 deletion and severe epilepsy, and struggling to get on a waiver, struggling to get support, live kind of out in a rural area. So if anybody has any connections, any recommendations that I could send their way to try to get them some help, because they're out of our area completely, please let me know. So I will hand it off. I'll let Ina go ahead and introduce herself, and then Ina can pick who introduces themselves after that.
Oh, no.
No? Okay.
No. Thank you, Jeremy, very, very much. And thank you all for joining. And we really do appreciate that. Again, our hope is that these meetings will be helpful for everybody involved, and that people will want to join, because it will help them to learn about new resources, about new potential partners, about how they could do things in their agency more efficiently, and so on. So we would love to be a resource to you. My name is Ina Pikar. I'm originally from Ukraine. That's where my accent comes from. I'm a licensed clinical social worker, and I run Kids First Adoption Services for over 23 years. And we place children from, through domestic adoption route and help families who do need an option of adoption and for their children, and started home health care after my father was really, really ill. And it was really kind of the way to provide to him dignity of care. So that's how Advocates Home Health Care was started. So again, I mean, I love networking. I love learning about other companies. Our team loves to do that as well. So please, please, please share with us what you do, how kind of what we all do crosses over, and what you are hoping to get out from these meetings. Thank you so much. I will let you just jump in and please introduce yourself.
Kristen, you want to go ahead?
I can. Kristen Ludiker-Siebert. I am the Director of Coordination for a Healthier Hamilton County Systems of Care. And systems of care is the idea that all of those systems that take care of the people in our community should communicate with one another and have a platform where they can gather resources, share resources, and create partnerships. So I kind of run that platform as well as share out resources to all the members of our consortium. I know a little bit about a lot of stuff, and normally I know the person you need to talk to. So that's kind of what I do.
All right, Susan.
Hi, I'm Susan Ferguson. I'm the Chief Program Officer at Accessibility. We are the Center for Independent Living that serves Marion and the surrounding counties. And that means that we empower our peers with disabilities to live independently in whichever way they choose. So that is our work, and happy to be here.
Thank you. James?
Sure. By the way, Susan, it's so nice to see you. I haven't seen you in forever. So my name is Jim Gidner, and I am the health education specialist here at Hamilton County Health Department. And my colleague, Kaylin, looks like she's having some audio problems as well, too. She's an addition to my team. We provide education throughout Hamilton County, excluding Fishers, because they fall under the Fishers Health Department. So we are always available to do any type of education. And we also do referrals as well, too. So if there's anything that I know, I'll speak from Kaylin if that's okay, Kaylin, that if there's anything that we can do to help, please let us know. I'm kind of like Kristen. I know who to call if we need something. Sometimes even call Kristen and say, hey, what do you think about this idea as well, too? So if there's anything that we can do, from teaching Stop the Bleed to a group of organizations to whatever, please let us know, and we're able to help.
Thank you. So Kaylin, are you still having audio issues? Okay, then I'll go with James's introduction of you for that. And Kim, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yes, thank you, Jeremy. My name is Kim Williams, and I am with the Indiana Parkinson Foundation, and I'm so grateful for the invitation. I did view the previous meeting, and as I was doing it, I was taking furious notes going, oh my gosh, I need to connect with all of these people. So Indiana Parkinson Foundation has programs and services for those with Parkinson's and their families. And there are so many people living in Indiana with Parkinson's disease that don't know that there are resources out there. And so we are looking to connect with anyone living with or caring for someone with Parkinson's. Thank you.
Thank you. Julie?
Hi, everyone. I'm Julie Barnes, and I work with Prime Life Enrichment in Carmel. We are traditionally thought of as a senior center, but I think of us more as an adult center where people can come exercise their mind, body, and spirit. We also are a resource for anyone who is needing information on community help. We provide lunch and learns. We provide meals 5 days a week for adults. And we are here we have a freestanding building where people can come and be a community. So these are for any adults. I generally say 21 and over, although I realize that not a lot of 21-year-olds are coming here, but they are welcome. So I look forward to working with you all and maybe having you come and talk about. I think Kim's coming to our Lunch and Learn to share her information, and we would be a wonderful place for people to come and share their resources.
Thank you, Julie. I'll be in touch because I think that would be a great opportunity for us to spread the word about what Advocates is doing. Emily, would you like to introduce yourself? And it's great to see you again.
Now you can see me again.
Yeah.
Likewise. Hello, my name is Emily Munson. In my individual capacity, I'm a person with a severe physical disability who needs assistance with every activity of daily living. In my professional capacity, I am the policy director and a senior attorney at Indiana Disability Rights. IDR is Indiana's protection and advocacy agency. So we help clients with disabilities resolve rights violations through either advocacy or, if need be, legal representation up through class action lawsuits. I am here to decide, kind of figure out whether this group is something that IDR is the right fit for participating in. We have received multiple calls from clients across Indiana, especially in rural areas, I would say, who are unable to find caregivers. But we are of the mind that that the only way to significantly change the direct care workforce shortage is not through agencies, but rather through the expansion of self-directed care, through which people with disabilities can hire, fire, train, and discipline, if needed, their own caregivers. So that is me. It's nice to meet all of you and see those of you who I know again.
Thank you, Emily. I'm pretty sure, if I remember correctly, we made this connection a while back. We are also neighbors, or at least within.
Yeah, aren't you married to Virginia Jenkins' sister?
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she lives right behind me.
Yeah. Yes, indeed. So, and yeah, I'm about 4 blocks away. So, and with what you were just talking about, we need to talk because what Advocates is doing with paying family and community caregivers. I mean, ultimately, it is the person receiving the care who has the say over whether or not that person continues to be their caregiver. The point of Advocates being there is to provide that oversight so that they do have somebody to say, hey, I'm not getting the care from this person that I need to be receiving.
Absolutely. And I would like to add to that. Again, I started this agency because of my father, and it was so incredibly difficult to find the right resources, to find the right people, to find people who could actually be there on time and do what he needed and not just come to work. You know what I mean? Patient is the one who has to be, client has to be the one who benefits from that. So we are always glad to hear and kind of get a full understanding from every perspective, from perspective of what needs to be done, full understanding, matching personalities, trying to find caregivers who live close by, because sometimes hours are kind of 6 a.m. or whatever, so that it all works. So we're happy to talk and pick your brain and kind of share what we do.
Well, and also understanding the cultural needs as well of the person who's receiving
Absolutely.
care. That's why it's so important for them to be the ones in control. Courtney, would you like to introduce yourself? I don't know if Courtney's actually there. So, all right. And Emily, to your point, wanting to see whether or not this is the right group for you guys to be engaged in. we want this network to be something that continues to be of value. And so while I, initially said in that first meeting, I didn't want it to always be about who is the presentation of the month. I do absolutely want it to be about us talking about what is going on in our communities. So right now, as I'm looking at setting up the agenda for the next meeting, and since this really is our second meeting, we're still trying to figure out, last time we met at 10, this time we set it at 9:30. I didn't see a lot of responses or folks join. I saw a lot of responses. I didn't see a lot of people joining on at 9:30. I again apologize. I did not see or know that we had a waiting room set up until about 15 minutes into it. But what I'm kind of getting at is when it comes to setting up what we talk about next month or what we do, I would really appreciate it if folks, as we go throughout, the next month, if issues come up, whether it is something going on within the disability community, something going on within that impacts people with conditions of aging, which to me, I see the two as the same, because really conditions of aging present themselves as disabilities. So, but if there are things that you folks become aware of and you want time on the agenda to talk next month or the month after that or the month after that, please send me an email and say, hey, I need 15 minutes on next month's agenda to talk about independent living or to talk about Alzheimer's or whatever the case may be. And if it's something from an advocacy standpoint, I'm what I want to see really is the opportunity, like for Emily, with the work that you do, for you to be able to come in and say, hey, we have this issue facing our community, and there's an advocacy day at the State House, so that we know that we can join in and be part of that if we need to be part of that. But I also, kind of the idea where this came from really was through my work. Ina and I kept running into folks who we couldn't help because they didn't meet the eligibility for the Medicaid waiver, and we didn't know who to refer them to. So that was part of why we wanted to create this, so that our network and our ability to help those people who are falling into the cracks, who we can't help, but we could send to the right place, might improve. So that's
absolutely, Jeremy. And I so appreciate that. And to create an environment where we as a group get to know what we're doing, and everybody has an opportunity to introduce what they're working on, or if there is like a certain challenge or something new or something exciting to spread the word, that we get to know each other. And then besides the calls, we have that we expand our network and are able to call in our daily work and say, look, who do you suggest? Or you have more experience in that. And I think that just makes such a huge difference in what we do every day. So yeah, thank you.
And we just had somebody else join us. Greetings, Raquel. I'm sorry if you were in the waiting room for a moment. I am trying to get better at paying attention to that. Would you like to introduce yourself? Okay, if not, that's all right. If you could enter your information into the chat so that we know who's on, that would be appreciated. And and I know we said we were going to start at 9:30. We got a rough start. Is 9:30 a bad time? A couple people are shaking their heads no. Okay. Part of what we also talked about was the fourth Thursday might not necessarily be the right Thursday for us to do it. Are Thursdays in general good for folks? Okay. And so how, maybe if we tried the third Thursday next month, would that maybe work for folks?
Third Thursday is the only Thursday that I can't do.
Ah,
I sometimes have all day trainings on the third Thursday.
okay, so that's an all-day thing for you. All right. Fourth Thursday worked for most of, was it a hard thing for you guys to cut the time out this month? Okay, so maybe we stick with the fourth Thursday. Is a morning meeting ideal? Do we need to try to go back to that 10 a.m. time, or do we need to look at a different, maybe later in the, maybe 2 p.m.?
The morning on this Thursday works best for me because I will always have something, unless we change it, at noon and then something at 6 p.m. So it's a long day for me, but like I'm fine with that.
Okay.
I'd
Great.
rather like spread it out like that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we move it to 10 a.m. and it's kind of easier to just its exact number? It doesn't matter to me. I'm just,
Okay. So looks like people are open on that one. I feel like I need to start calling people out. Susan?
Well, again, I think I said this at the last meeting, but you're asking the people who are here on the fourth Thursday at 10 o'clock. So works for us.
Right. Okay. Very good. Well, and we lost a few folks. I'm surprised there's nobody on from Bosma today. And from the Immigrant Welcome Center, I know we had some folks from there last time as well. So I will reach out and see what I can find out. We had talked about doing a Survey Monkey thing last time, and Ina and I kind of quickly decided that we just needed to get a date on the calendar last time, especially in light of the fact that I was traveling and then she was traveling as well. So.
Hey, Jeremy, I can tell you for Kaylin and I will be back in the schools then, but one of us will try it and log on as when we can.
Okay, very good. Is there anything that we need to do for the schools?
I think that's a great question. Kayla and I work a lot with the schools, and I think maybe, do you guys have like a fact sheet or something that we could maybe send out to the school nurses or the special needs teachers that say, hey, these are some options or these are some opportunities that we can provide for students, or here's some information, because we know in the school system, we have a lot of those special needs kids that need some little extra help, or maybe they need help finding wheelchairs or whatever. And I know that's a big issue with everything. And I really appreciate what Ina said. My mom was kind of in that situation as your dad. My mom just passed away in November, and it was really hard to get stuff done. So I really appreciate what you're doing as well too. So if there's anything that you all feel that we can pass out to the schools, Kayla and I work with all the public and private schools within Hamilton County, unfortunately excluding Fishers because they have their own health department. We'd be more than happy to push stuff out. Kayla and I have a great resource, and I know Kristen has a great resource for those little ones that have special needs and have those medical needs that, or even, as I said, wheelchairs, walkers, whatever we can do to help those little guys out as well too. Do you agree, Kristen?
I think that's a great idea. We could absolutely maybe we could collaborate with accessibility to put together a fact sheet that would cover the services that advocates would be able to provide from a paid caregiver standpoint, but also something when it comes to the services that accessibility provides from a, especially when it comes to that independent living support and the assistive technology aspect.
Very much so. And this would be an awesome time because most of my schools, I should say our schools now, sorry, I'm so used to saying me because I was the only person, but most of our schools will actually start next week. So this would be a great opportunity. I've already sent, Kayla and I have already sent some stuff out to the school nurses and the risk coordinators and the school nurses, as I mentioned. This would be a great time to give them that information. So when they have those kids come in, or those parents that say, hey, school nurse, special needs teacher, I need help, can you help me? So they would be able to refer them or give them information so they're not as stressed out.
Okay, that would be fantastic.
Yeah, that would be great. And maybe we could, I don't know, kind of combine all of our efforts because there are so many different programs, and ask our partners to write down a paragraph or just provide information with phone numbers, or because I think so many people just don't have a clue what programs exist, and to start there and just to have it on the sheet, we could try to pull it together, right, Jeremy?
Yeah, yeah. I will reach out to Susan, Kristen, anybody else who I should reach out to on trying to put that together. I know Kristen's got lots of resources. Susan has all sorts of resources. So anybody else want me to reach out to them on that?
Can I ask a question? I've had my hand up for a
Oh,
while.
sorry, Emily. I'm not good at looking at those things. Yeah, go right ahead.
When you are talking about schools, are those elementary level or is it all school
Emily,
levels?
it's all schools. We do a lot with our daycares as well too. So it can
Okay.
be from the 1-year-old to the 22-year-old that has been diagnosed with a special needs that can stay in some of our programs until their age of 22.
Okay, we have a legal intern at IDR right now who has CP, and so she also relies on personal care, and she has drafted a transition guide from the perspective of someone with a disability and what they will need to think about in terms of like med work, social security benefits, different whether people are going to college for an academic degree or one of the Think College programs for people with intellectual disability. So currently it's in draft form, but when it is finalized, I think that would be a great resource to point those like 14 to 22-year-old kids to. And the other thing IDR is really pushing and has a lot of resources around is less restrictive alternatives to guardianship. We've seen a lot of schools statewide pushing guardianship as the only option once a child with a disability becomes an adult, and saying to the parents like, well, if you don't get guardianship, you can't be in case conference meetings anymore. That's not true. So IDR has several fact sheets on supported decision making and other less restrictive alternatives that I could send you the link to if that would be helpful.
Yeah, Emily, that would be awesome. And we know that there's a more and more of our students who are coming into the public and private schools who do need that extra support that I think, unfortunately, I think our school systems are so overwhelmed with everything else. They just don't have time to pull everything together. And I think that would be an awesome resource that we could send out to, again, Kayla and I we work with all the schools in the county, all the private schools, all the daycares. We also work with Ivy Tech as well, the Excel Center. So we kind of have our hands in a lot of different pots. So we'd be more than happy to send stuff out.
Let me ask this question, and I'm very curious to know what your thoughts are. I know one of the things that Ina and I recently talked about, and I've been reaching out to universities and their departments for students with, and I hate the term special needs, but really inclusive education. I struggle with that term because really everybody's needs are the same. It's how we meet those needs that are special. But so I've been reaching out to universities to talk about the fact that what Advocates is doing could potentially help pay, people who are note takers for a student with a disability, or people who are helping carry books to campus for a student with a disability, those types of things. Would there be an opportunity for us to help support public education through that same thing when it comes to kids with IEPs and section, and 504 plans and that type of thing, where perhaps a student has ADHD and can't focus and needs somebody present to help keep them focused on the work that they need to do, but the school doesn't have the manpower to do that.
Yeah, and I think that was really important as well too. And I do have a contact at Ivy Tech here in Noblesville. It just became its own accredited campus. So Jeremy, if you want me to send you my contact information there, she's the director of student services at Ivy Tech
That
here
would
in
be
Noblesville.
wonderful.
So I'd be more than happy. And I just met with her a few weeks ago. So I think that would be a great resource. And it's kind of funny you mentioned about the AIs and everything. And it's really sad that when you go into the school system, a student who needs that extra help, there's not enough AIs to help out there. And the teacher is frustrated because they feel that they need to give extra more help to that person who has that disabilities, but they just don't have the extra help to do it. So that would be awesome.
Okay. Yeah, that would be fantastic. Please do send me that.
Yeah, of course. Yep.
So, all right, we are, and I have time. If folks want to keep going longer, we can absolutely keep going longer, but we are approaching the 10:30 point, which was, I tend to not want to take up more than an hour of folks' time, although most of you didn't get let in until 9:45. So, but anybody have anything else that they want to bring up, that they want to add? Julie,
Can I
I'm,
ask-
yeah, go
Can I
ahead.
ask a question to Emily? Emily, in regards to the Indiana Disability Rights Law, so where you are, would you be a location that parents could also contact when it comes to IEPs and 504s?
Yeah, so we're organized where we have different legal teams, and our attorneys are divided by subject matter expertise. One of our teams is the education team, and because there are other resources available, like oh, what's it called, InSource.
Yep, I was just
If
going to say
if
in-source
if
is
it's
normally where we lead parents.
if InSource can do it and we're low on resources, we might refer people there. But if it is particularly contentious, or InSource has tried and failed, or we're at the point where mediation or due process is probably the only option, or if it's a case where a kid has lost more than 10 days of education time, those are all cases that IDR is particularly interested in taking. So yeah, sometimes we take run of the mill, like education disputes, but we try to do this stuff that nobody else can do, if that makes sense. And then I was gonna note, I think somebody mentioned earlier that there was difficulty figuring out how to serve people who are not eligible for a Medicaid waiver. If it's questionable, the eligibility, Medicaid waiver appeals is also something that IER can help with. That's my area of expertise. So it would probably be me at least overseeing those appeals. So that's another thing that we do.
Good to know. And that is something, so you guys know, I've been casting a fairly wide net in regards to who we've been inviting to join in on this network, from provider organizations like most of us, to folks at the state level, to folks, to elder law attorneys. And, you know, that is something, I know today we've focused really more on education, which I think is really where the focus needs to be. And because the better we do at educating people with disabilities, really not just about general education, but about their rights and all of that, really the more inclusive of a society we build. But also when it comes to those conditions of aging, helping us to understand what really goes into somebody who is starting to have disabilities as they age. One, helping them to understand that that is what's taking place. Two, getting them to the support networks that they need. And then three, how do we get them to where they are eligible? Because I mean, I know I have a friend whose mom would be eligible. She is the caregiver for her mom, but as of now, her mom holds all the assets. And so she is not financially eligible on paper for that support. So helping them understand what needs to happen and I hate that we live in a world where we have to look at our parents' assets as they start to age and say, how do we make certain that you're going to be eligible for the services that are out there when you need them? And what does that mean from a asset management standpoint? That is still absurd. But that's, as we get moving forward with this network, I foresee us starting to have some presentations about that in the near future so that we can all understand those things better. Julie, from a Parkinson's standpoint, is there anything you want to add from that perspective?
You mean Kim, right?
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Kim. I apologize. I'm looking at the wrong window.
Oh, no, you're fine. As far as what you were just saying, Jeremy, I would say there are people out there that can help individuals that are looking for the services that they or the resources they need to talk to about that point in time when you're like, we're at a point where this person needs to have POA. These assets need to be shifted so that we can move on down the path and have all of our ducks in a row. And I would say the biggest message that I try to tell all the people that I'm in contact with is plan ahead, don't wait for an emergency situation, because it's a lot easier to find those resources that can help. And I have a few on my mind that I'm going to invite to this meeting next time. Sitting down with them when your loved one is still okay, and sitting down with them when you don't have a fire under you and you have to move mom to a facility tomorrow. Doing that sort of thing up front is so helpful in this situation, being proactive versus reactive. But again, yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up, Jeremy, because I think, you know, it is sad that we have to think about, oh gosh, we're getting to that point. What do we do with these assets so that we don't, you know, so that we don't hit a wall when we're trying to make things happen. And so that's part of what we do is education and resources in every area. And not that that's a part of our scope of practice, but at the same time, we can connect you with those people so that you know, hey, these are the people I need to talk to, and I choose the way that I need to go for my own personal situation. But yeah, so, and I get calls sometimes from people that aren't even calling about Parkinson's. I got a call last week from a veteran, and his claim had just been denied, and he's literally 51 years old. And he's like, you know, I just need to talk to anybody that I can that can help me. And so I was able to get him connected with another couple people, you know. So I think just, I mean, this group of people, we are great resources, but we're as good as we are known. And I think that that's one of the things that frustrates me, because I feel like so many people don't know that we're here for them. You know, and I think that that's just really sad, you know. So hopefully being in more groups like this, where we're all passionate about what we're doing and wanting to get in front of those people that need us, young or old, I think it's a great thing that you guys have put together.
I'm thrilled that you're with us today. Thrilled that all of you are with us today, and hope to see this continue to grow. I want to give 5 minutes for anybody else who has anything that they want to throw in before we are done. But I do want to reiterate that, and like Kim just said, she'll be inviting some other folks to join us next month. That really, please, when that invitation goes out, send it out to anybody who you think is interested. And I'm disappointed that I don't see any representatives from any churches with, again, that term, special needs ministries, but that is something I've been trying to reach out to all the different local, or rather Indiana conference offices for the different denominations throughout the state to try to reach their care and nurture ministers and their mission and outreach ministers in regards to this as well. So please think outside the box, and anything, anybody that you think should be included, please invite them. So.
I have two thoughts. First, I don't have his contact info, but if you can find it, Jeremy, you might want to reach out to a guy named John Gurton. He is a Black pastor who has a pretty big congregation, and his niece, Patrice, has autism, and his sister is a CNA and has been for years. So I think he might be very interested in joining if you knew about the group. But again, I don't have his contact info. He also has connections to the mayor. So that would be another good loop in. And then what I was going to say, following up on what Jeremy and Kim said about kind of elder law and life planning, Indiana Disability Rights won a grant earlier this year from the Indianapolis Bar Association to